This is the Azden PCS-5000 that I picked up at the Spring 2012 Nearfest Hamfest up in Deerfield, New Hampshire. And the radio is apart at this point because I needed to change the memory battery. If the radio was turned off more than a couple of minutes, it would lose all of its memory function and reset to factory default. So I finally get the thing apart. Didn't make a video of taking it apart because at the time I didn't have a camera. So now that I have a camera, I guess I'll pick up where I left off and see if we can get this thing put together. So basically, you have to disassemble a lot of the radio. You have to take the whole front area apart to get at the battery, which is in the upper left corner of the front bezel circuit board. The battery is right there, and it happens to be a Sony CR2032, and as luck would have it, I have a bunch of those hanging around, so I don't even have to order one. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that out of there now that this is mostly disassembled. The battery seems to be soldered in with a little tab, so I'm going to fire up the soldering iron and see if I can get that divorced from the circuit board. Okay, so here we are with the battery removed. There's just two pins that need to be unsoldered from the circuit board. You can sort of see the one on the right there. That's ends up connecting to the positive lead. That's this one here. And then the one that connects to the negative lead is here on this ground area of the circuit board. So I was able to just hit those with the soldering iron and gravity let the battery just fall out. Now on the back side of the battery was this insulator that prevented the battery from shorting to any of the traces or pads on the other side of the board. So it's important when you replace the battery to remember to put that back in. And then the battery itself just has these solder tabs that are soldered to the battery and then have pins on them for access to the circuit board. So I'm going to go ahead and try and remove these tabs from this battery and add them to another. And as you can see, I don't know how well that's going to focus, but this is a Sony CR2032 battery. Okay, so here's the battery with the terminal soldered on, and a little bit of a messy soldering job there, but it'll do the trick. You don't have to have too much solder; they just need to stay on and make a good contact. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it in the board. Okay, here's the battery all soldered back into its home. I put a little black electrical tape there on the battery to help hold the insulator to the back of it so it wouldn't fall off while I was trying to solder, because obviously when you solder those tabs back on, you're not going to get them perfectly in the right spots, and that's what I had done, and the insulator was sort of giving me some trouble, so I just taped it on there for now and was able to solder it much easier that way. So there's the battery side and the foil side of the board, and ready to start reassembly. One of the tricks that I did when I was disassembling this, as you can see here with these connectors are identical, and they had the identical wiring to them. So as not to mix them up, I used a fine point Sharpie and color coded them. So one of them is green and one is blue, and I color coded the header on the circuit board that they plug into as well, so that I wouldn't mess them up. I think everything else was pretty much unique. It was just those two that were the same, so color coded them so I didn't mix them up. Okay, time for reassembly. Well, before I reassemble, there was one other problem with this radio that I forgot that I wanted to address, and that was the backlighting on the main LCD screen. It didn't work. So what I've discovered is I've got these two, there's one on each side, two lamps. Not sure if those are regular bulbs with a green sleeve over them or if they're LEDs, but I'm going to go ahead and unsolder them now. The one on this side I believe is lamp 102 according to the silkscreen. The other one is the silkscreen got chopped off by the breakaway tab on the circuit board here, so it's lamp 10 something. But I imagine if we can determine what this one is, the other one is the same. So I'm going to go ahead and unsolder those and see if I can replace them while I got the whole thing apart. So I stopped at Radio Shack yesterday and I found these little lamps that look physically about the same size as the ones that are in the backlight. But I'm not sure what the voltage is on the backlight lamps for this radio. But I got these 12 volt 50 milliamp lamps and I'm going to throw them in and see if they work. The little green thing here is the sleeve that goes over the lamp, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on and then solder it in place. Now on the board itself, what I ended up doing was I found that this shield over the LCD screen comes off. On the back of the printed circuit board there's tabs here that just protrude through slots in the board. Okay, so here's the Azden all back together now. It's been about a week. I ended up getting sick, so I haven't done much work with it. But in that ensuing week, what I did program into the memory stayed, so that's good. That means the battery swap was successful, and backlights are all fixed. They're a little dimmer than they should be, I think, because I think I really needed 8 volt bulbs instead of 12 volt bulbs, but 12 volt is what I was able to get, and they'll work.